Hello friends, today my topic is silent feature of the Indian constitutions. The Indian constitution is unique in its content and spirit. Though they borrow from almost every constitution of the world, the constitution of India has several silent features from the constitutions of the other countries. There are so many silent features of our constitutions. Uh, I have mentioned 16 silent features of our constitutions. One is first is written and lengthiest constitution. Second is preamble. Third is federal government, and fourth is parliamentary government, and fifth three-tier government. Six is fundamental rights. Seven is fundamental duties. Eight is directive principle of state policy. 10 is partly rigid and partly flexible. 11 is single citizenship. 12 universal adult franchise. 13 is language policy. 14 is independent judiciary. 15 is a constitution derived from many other sources, and 16 is emergency provisions. So before I give you summary on this point, first you please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon. First point is written and lengthiest constitutions. Constitutions are classified into written like American constitutions or unwritten like British constitutions. The Constitution of India is the lengthiest of all the written constitution of the world. It is a very comprehensive, elaborate and detailed document. Originally, 1949, the constitution contained a preamble and 395 articles divided into 22 parts and 8 schedules. And presently, 25th January 2020, they have 470 articles and divided into 25 parts and 8 scheduled. Four major factors have contributed to lengthiest size of our constitutions. They are 1. Geographical factors, that is a vastness of the country and its diversity. 2. Historical factors, that is the influences of the Government of India Act 1935. Third, single constitution for both the center and the states. And fourth, dominance of legal luminance in the Constituent Assembly. Point number 2. Federal government. The Constitution of India established as a federal system of the government. It contained all the usual features of the federal system, which to government, divisions of the power, written constitution, supremacy of the constitutions, rigid of constitution, independent judicial and bicameralism. However, the Indian constitutions also contain a large number of unitary or non-federal features, which is a strong centers, single constitutions, single citizenship, flexibility of the constitution, integrated judiciary appointment for the state government by the central and all Indian service, emergency provisions, and so on. However, the term federations has now here used in a constitution article 1. On the other hand, describes India as a union of states, which implies two things. One, Indian federation is not the result of an agreement by the states, and two, no state has right to secede from the federations. Hence, the Indian constitution has been variously described as a federal in the front but unitary in spirit. Quasi-federal by Casey, where is bargaining federalism by the Maurice Jones, cooperative federalism by Granville Austin's, federation with the centralization tendency by Ivor Zenning, and so on. Third point is Preamble of Indian Constitution. The American Constitution was the first to begin with the preamble. Many countries, including India, followed the practice. The term preamble refers to the introducing or preface to the constitutions. Preamble of the Indian Constitution is based on the objective resolutions draft and moved by the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and adopted by the Constituent Assembly. It has been amended by the 42nd and Constitution Amendment Act 1976, which added features new words socialist, secular, and integrity. You are seeing on screen the Constitution Preamble of India. We the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic, and to secure to all the citizens. You have to understood what the meaning of justice and liberty and equality and fraternity. Justice mean three types of justice: social, economic, and political, and liberty of thoughts, expressions, belief, faith, and worship. Equality of status and opportunity and to promote among them all. Fraternity assuring the all dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nations. Fourth point is parliamentary government. Constitution of India has adopted from the British parliamentary systems of the government rather than American presidential systems of the government. The parliamentary system is based on the principle of the cooperative and coordinated between the legislative and executive organs, while the presidential system is based on doctrine of separations of power between the two organs. The features of the parliamentary government in India are: number 1, presence of nominal and real executives. Number 2, majority party rule. Number 3, collective responsibility of the executive to the legislatures. Number 4, membership of the ministers in the legislatures. Number 6, number 5, leadership of the prime minister or chief minister. Number 6, dissolution of the lower house. Even though the Indian parliamentary system is largely based on the British Parliament, there are some fundamental differences between the two. For example, the Indian Parliament is not a sovereign body like the British Parliament. Further, the Indian state has an elected head republic, while the British state has hereditary head monarchy systems. It is a main difference for the Indian parliament system and the British parliament system. Point number 5 is three-tier government. Originally, the Indian constitutions, like any other federal constitutions, provide for a dual polity and constitutional provisions with the regard to the organizations and power of the central and states. Later, 40 Later, the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act 1992 have added three tier of the government, that is local, will also be found in any other constitutions of the world. 73rd Amendment Act of 1992 have constitutions recognition of the Panchayat and rural government by adding the new part 9(7) and new schedule of 11 to the constitution. Similarly, the 74th Amendment Act 1992 will also constitution recognition of the municipalities urban local government by adding new part 9A, part river 18 and new schedule 12 constitutions. Point number 6 is fundamental rights. Part 3 of the Indian Constitution guarantees 6 fundamental rights to all the citizens. Number 1, right to equality, Article 14 to 18. Number 2, right to freedom, Article 19 to 22. Number 3, right to against explorations, Article 23 to 24. Number 4, right to freedom of religious, Article 25 to 28. Number 5, cultural and educational right, Article 29 to 30. And 6 is right to constitution remedies, Article 32. Point number 7 is fundamental duties. The original constitutions did not provide for the fundamental duty of the citizens. These were added during the operation of internal emergency 1975 to 77 by the 42nd Constitution Amendment Act 1976 on the recommendation of the Swaraj Singh Committee. The 86th Constitution Amendment Act of 2002 added one more fundamental duties. The Part 4A of the Constitution, which consists of only one Article 51A, specifies this 11 fundamental duty, which is to respect the Constitution's national flag, national anthem, to protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of the country, to promote the spirit of the common brotherhood among all the people, to preserve the rich heritage of our compositions, cultures and so on. Point number 8. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said, the directive principle of the state policy is a noble feature of the Indian constitutions. They are enumerated in Part 4 of the constitutions. They can be classified into 3 broad categories: socialistic, Gandhian and liberal intellectual. Point number 10. Partly rigid and partly flexible. Constitutions are classified into rigid and flexible. A rigid constitution is one that requires a special procedure for its amendment. As an example, the American constitutions. A flexible constitution, on the other hand, is one that can be amended in the same manner as the ordinary law are made, as for example the British constitutions. The Constitution of India is neither rigid nor flexible, but a synthesis of both. Article 368 provides for 2 types of the amendments. One is, some provision can be amendment by special majority of the Parliament, that is 2/3 majority of the amendment of each house present and voting, and majority of these total members of each house. 2. Some other provision can be amended by a special majority of the Parliament and with ratification by half of the total states. Point number 11. Single citizenship. Though the Indian Constitution is federal and envisages a dual polity, central and states, it provides for only a single citizenship, that it is Indian citizenship. In the countries like USA, on other hand, each person is not only a citizen of USA but also a citizen of particular state of which he belongs. Those who were illegal both of the enjoy dual sets of rights, one confirmed by the national government and other by the state government. In India, all citizens, irrespective of the state in which also they are born or reside, enjoy the same political and civil rights of the citizenships all over the country, and discrimination is made between them. The Constitution provides for the single citizenship and uniform rights for the people of India has been witnessing the communal riots, class conflicts, caste wars, linguistic clashes, and ethics disputes. Point number 4. Universal adult franchise. The Indian Constitution adopts universal adult franchise as the basis of elections to the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assemblies. Every citizen who is not less than 18 years of age has a right to vote without any discrimination of caste, race, religious, sex, literally, wealth, and so on. The voting age was reduced to 18 years from 21 years in 1989 by the 61st Constitutional Amendment Act 1988. The introduction of universal adult franchise by the constitution makers was a bold experiment and highly remarkable in view of vast size of the country, its huge population, high poverty, social inequality. Point number 13. Language policy. The constitutions obviously add 22 languages. Point number 14. Independent judiciary. The Indian Constitution established a judicial system that is integrated as well as independent. The Supreme Court stands at the top of integrated judicial system in the country. Below it there are high courts at the state level. Under the high courts there are hierarchy of subordinate court, that is also district court and other lower court. This single system of court conforms both the central law and as well as state law, unlike the USA where the federal law are confirmed by the federal judiciary and the state law are confirmed by the state judiciary. Supreme Court is a federal court, the highest court of appeal, the guarantor of the fundamental rights of the citizens and the guardian of the constitutions. Point number 15. A constitution derived from many sources. The Constitution of India has borrowed most of provisions from the constitution of various other countries as well as from the Government of India Act of 1935. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar proudly claimed that the Constitution of India has been from other ranking all the known constitution of the world. The structure of part of the Constitution is to a large extent derived from the Government of India Act 1931. The philosophical part of the Constitution, the fundamental rights of the directive principles of the state policy, derive the inspired of the American and Irish constitutions. Respectively, the political part of the Constitution, the principle of the cabinet government and relations between the executive and legislative have been largely drawn from the British Constitution. The other provision that constitutions have been drawn from the Constitution of Canada, Australia, Germany, USA, and USSR, now Russia, France, South Africa, Japan, and so on. Point number 16. Emergency provisions. The Indian Constitution contains elaborate emergency provisions of the enable the president to meet any extraordinary situations effectively. The relations behind the incorporations of these provisions of the safeguard the sovereignty, unity, integrity, and security of the country and democratic political system and the constitutions. The Constitution envisages three types of the emergencies, namely national emergency on the ground of war and external aggression of armed revolutions, Article 352. Number 2. State emergency, President's rule. On the ground of fail the constitutional machinery in the states, Article 356, or the failure of the comply with the directions of the central, Article 356. Number 3. Financial emergency on the ground of the threat to the financial stability or credit of the India, Article 360. During an emergency, the central government becomes all powerful and the states go it the total control of the central. It converts the federal structure into a unitary one without a form amendment of the constitution. This kind of transformations of the political systems from the federal to unitary is a unique feature of the Indian constitutions. I hope you understood what the silent feature of the our constitutions. So thank you for this day. Good day.